Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, January 4th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the Sunday NHL slate. We've got a 5-spot on the card today, 5 games. We'll get to those in just a moment. We'll roll through this recap here for Saturday. It ended up being a actually profitable day. We'll take it. It was solid. Not a huge profitable day, but it was a solid profitable day in the NHL. And it was the third straight over winning day for the overs in the NHL. Not like the crazy run that we saw in the first 2 days, but like I said, certainly yesterday we saw 7-6, I believe, was the final result with overs on the card. So not quite the landslide it was the first 2 days overall, but still, we'll take it. Pittsburgh 4-1 yesterday against the Detroit Red Wings to start the day. It was a pathetic performance by Detroit. I mean, even when they were down in the third period, we saw them just not muster much offense, not really generate much as far as a comeback attempt in that game. Now, you have to credit Pittsburgh. They played well defensively, but boy, just looked like they were lethargic, lacking any sort of energy of the Red Wings yesterday, and it was a pretty rough performance for a national TV home game for the Red Wings, who lose back-to-back to this Pittsburgh Penguins team. So 4-1 yesterday for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It'll be fascinating to see how Detroit responds to that no-show in particular. The game in Pittsburgh, they didn't play that bad. That was horrendous yesterday. So how do the Detroit Red Wings respond to that? You know, that's going to be the interesting part, because they play the Ottawa Senators on Monday night. So it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back and play better. New Jersey beats Utah 4-1. It was kind of a tough spot for Utah back-to-back. They pummeled the Islanders the day before that. So we'll see how it plays out with New Jersey now starting to get a little momentum now with a couple of wins in a row as they beat Utah 4-1. And yes, the hottest win streak, the hottest team in the NHL gets cooled off yesterday. Buffalo does not get to 11 straight wins for the franchise record win streak as they get beaten soundly by the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-1. UPL was just not good enough yesterday too. There was a couple goals that I thought he should have had. His 5-hole was not working for him yesterday. There were a couple of goals that he, through the legs. You just can't give up those kind of goals. So it wasn't his best game. Really, it wasn't the Sabres' best game overall. They had chances. They still had 33 shots, but lacking some finish. And you have to credit Jet Greaves for the lack of finish too. He was very good for the Columbus Blue Jackets in that victory 5-1. I remember being on this show yesterday saying that, I was on a lot of the overs in the afternoon games, but I said the 2 of them I avoided were Utah, New Jersey, and Buffalo, Columbus. And sure enough, both of those games stayed under the total. This one did not. Philly and Edmonton. This was a great game. We had Philly plus the nice price of 140 on the money line and the over in that game. 5-2 win for the Flyers. They jumped on the Oilers in the first period. Vladar was very good when the Oilers made a push. Very nice win for Philly. They continue to be awesome off a loss under Rick Tocchet as well. Bouncing back, obviously, from the performance we saw against Calgary, where they lost 5-1. Bouncing back strong to beat Edmonton 5-2 for the Philadelphia Flyers. So great win for them. Vladar was solid. And how about the first NHL goal for Denver Barkey? Great to see that. And it was a very nice goal, going to the front of the net and doing a really nice job as far as that's concerned. So 5-2 Philly in that one. Tampa Bay just putting a beat down on the San Jose Sharks yesterday, 7-3. Jumped on the Sharks early and ended up cruising home to victory. That game ended up not being too bad. I did take a small shot with the San Jose money line, but split it with the team total, and it was like Pittsburgh-Chicago that one game last weekend where we got a very late goal to cash the team total over 2.5, and we got that for San Jose. But the primary bets the primary bet was the full game over, and it continues to cash with San Jose. I mean, they have been a big time over team of late, whether it's been them doing the scoring or them giving up the goals. They continue to trend over. It's now 8-0-1 in the last 9 San Jose games to the over. This over we did not cash. It was Montreal-St. Louis. So we got to tip our cap to Jordan Binnington. Unlike his struggling counterpart in Carolina, Freddie Anderson, he did not. He did have a bounce back game for the St. Louis Blues. He was excellent, man. That was Binnington in 2019 Stanley Cup title form yesterday. He was terrific. A couple of phenomenal saves. Montreal had their chances. Montreal had their looks, but give Binnington credit. And a shutout win for the St. Louis Blues as they beat Montreal 2-0. Montreal's in action again very early this afternoon. First game on the board against Dallas, which we'll talk about in a moment. Nashville beats Calgary 4-3. That was kind of a weird back-and-forth game. Dustin Wolf misplay leading to one of the Nashville goals, but Predators get a 4-3 win there against the Calgary Flames. How about Alex's Blackhawks? 3-2 shootout win, and Nick Foligno, the captain, getting for the Chicago Blackhawks. He talked after the game about how, I was itching to finally get a chance to, be in the shootout, get a chance at it. And for him to be able to score the shootout winning goal, the game winning goal in the shootout, a really cool moment there for Nick Foligno there. Leafs Islanders was a great game. What a night for Matthew Schaefer. My goodness. The kid was amazing last night, as Brendan Burke said on the Islander broadcast, but he was terrific. 2 goals, including the game winner, which was a beauty in overtime. The goal he scored end-to-end in the third period was tremendous as well. And the Islanders battled back to beat the Leafs 4-3. I think even though the Leafs lost that game, they still got a point. 10 of the last 12 points they've accumulated. And I think even in the loss, you're really happy if you're the Leafs, because Austin Matthews is back to looking dangerous again. My goodness, 2 goals last night. He's got 5 now in the last 2 games. He looks like, he's got that shots coming back, and, he's got that release back. He's got his timing back. He's got the great hands. He had the nice rush to score one of his goals. That's a great sign for the Leafs. Winnipeg, same old, can just continue to fade Winnipeg. It's really that simple. 4-2 win for the Ottawa Senators in that game, as the Jets continue to just plummet and just crater, really. At this point of the season, the Jets, it's been a brutal run for them. Colorado 5-3 against Carolina. We had to wait a while for Freddie Anderson to implode on us, but when it imploded hard, and it imploded hard in the third period again for him and Carolina, and that's becoming a all too familiar refrain lately for the Hurricanes, blowing leads in the third period, and it happened again last night as they lose to Colorado 5-3. The best bet cashes in Colorado, Carolina over. For me in that game, with that 4-goal outburst in the third period for Colorado. They're just never out of a game. Never, ever are they out of a game, the Colorado Avalanche. And like I said, Carolina with no Slavin, no Jarvis, and the defensive woes continue for the Hurricanes, blowing another lead and losing 5-3 to Colorado. And then the late games, we saw Alex was on to this. Minnesota didn't trust them in this spot on a back-to-back after beating Anaheim to have their A game. They did not have their A game. They're very fortunate they got a point out of that game. LA was the better team last night, and they end up getting the 5-4 shootout win over the Minnesota Wild. And then the Bruins, all of a sudden, after a bad run for them, they've put 2 wins in a row together as they beat the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 3-2. So great stuff indeed. I think, Alex, I was going to toss it to him for his thoughts on yesterday, but I think we lost him. So with that in mind, we'll get Alex back in just a moment. But yeah, I think in the meantime, we'll move on to today's card. We'll start breaking it up. Here he comes. Hold the phone. There we go. He's back.
Yeah.
All right. And with that in mind, Alex, we'll throw it to you. Your thoughts on Saturday.
Yeah, you were talking about with that Wild and Kings game. Like I said, I had a weird feeling just looking at that line that this is going to be a kind of an iffy game, and it seemed like it could be a spot where it could be tough for Minnesota, coming off of a win against Anaheim, playing a team against the Kings, like I said, where they had just been absolutely dreadful at home, and they, neither team was able to put it away. It was like watching a fight of 2 bad fighters, and no one could throw the knockout punch, essentially, and the Kings end up getting that win, and you hate to see that win for LA, because you're seeing how the fans are reacting. You're seeing now people starting to write about how Jim Hiller needs to go. And now you have these wins, and now this gives ammo to the front office saying, well, no, here we got a tough win against
we'll stay the course. Yeah.
We got a good win, a tough win against a good Minnesota team. They'll start using that as an excuse to hang on to Hiller, even though this whole Pacific Division looks like shit now. as far as I'm concerned. The Edmonton Oilers, I mean, they're leading the division, but they do not look like a team that even would be remotely capable of winning a 7-game series right now. How they played yesterday against Philly. This division was looking fantastic at the beginning of the year, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a fun race. But now it just seems like all these teams have kind of gassed out and are playing, kind of up and down hockey. It'll still be interesting as far as the playoff race is concerned, but I don't trust any of these teams. If you're talking about futures right now, I wouldn't be taking any Pacific Division team to do anything deep into the postseason with the way that they've been playing of late. Like I said, Detroit getting that loss against Pittsburgh. Said another bad effort at home. We were able to capitalize on that. I gave out first period over live on the show, and then Ian, right as we logged off, you said, "I'm grabbing Detroit next goal." That was the only goal they scored in the game, Dylan Larkin, in that second period. So that was a great call by you with that one. Definitely had some good live reads with that contest. The Hawks game was absolutely fantastic. Seeing it go back and forth. Spencer Knight making some big saves, and you love to see him playing well after having
he was dynamite
start.
Last night.
He looked. Wow. And that's the thing. You worry about him getting into a rut and having 2 or 3 bad starts in a row, but for him to bounce back with a couple of games after a bad start, that's a great sign. And like I said, Nick Foligno, the really cool part about that story was a couple of days ago during practice back in Chicago, they had a whole bunch of Make-A-Wish kids come in, and they did a shootout for them. And Foligno scored, and that's when Foligno saying, "Yeah, put me in for the shootout." And sure enough, 6th round. Although I thought it was interesting that we saw Crevier getting there as well. Crevier known more for his hard slap shot than his hands necessarily, but Crevier actually got the shot before Foligno, but Foligno ending that, and that's a good win, good road win. It's a good confidence building win for the Hawks, especially like you said, playing better without 98-91.
Yeah, I saw the Rick Ball and Panger interview post-game with Spencer Knight, and they talked with him about the Crevier situation. And Spencer was like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool seeing that." And I know how hard that guy can shoot the puck, so there you go. It wasn't a shock to Spencer Knight that Crevier got a look in the shootout there. Yeah. So
no, I mean, he's got a fantastic shot, and he's got one of the hardest shots in the league. They show a thing on the NHL app, who has the hardest shot of the night. And usually on a Hawks night, you'll see Louis Crevier 98, 99, 100 miles an hour. So he definitely has a cannon for sure.
Yeah. Funny little quip there, talking about how stretchy Spencer Knight is, of course, in between the pipes, and how how you're putting a lot of strain on your body, and obviously, being able to move in that kind of fashion. And Rick Ball with the quip, "I can barely put my socks on." So there you go. That was pretty
funny. That was funny. Yeah.
I heard that.
I get that.
Yeah, no, that's that. We're closer to the "we can't put our socks on" side of things,
definitely,
compared to we can make saves like Spencer Knight side of things.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
No question about that. Yeah. Not even debatable. All right, let's get into Sunday's card. We'll start with Montreal and Dallas. Very interesting game here. We've got 2 p.m. Eastern. Note the start time here. It is Dallas minus 180, home favorite, 6.5 the total here in this game. This is a game where it's, a lot of these early games, I'm really pumping the brakes, not going overboard with a ton of bets in these early games. And this is a real tough one to wrap my head around. It's definitely a good rest advantage, scheduling spot for Dallas, because they've been off, now for a couple of days following their last game, which was against Alex's Chicago Blackhawks. It was Thursday, and they ended up losing that game to the Blackhawks 4-3 on New Year's Day, Thursday. So that's their 4th straight loss. It feels like a stop the bleeding spot for the Dallas Stars. No question. They've now lost 4 in a row. But you're talking about laying, minus 180, minus 190 in that range with a team that's kind of struggling right now. So I don't want to do it. But for Montreal, you're on a back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights. This is now the 7th game of this current road trip, and they finally head back home to Montreal to face Calgary on Wednesday after this game. And you know what that's like. You've been on the road this long, and it's the last game of that road trip. You're itching to head home, and you wonder if that Montreal focus is going to be there with how long this trip has been, and obviously going home after this. When I start to, and by the way, that's going to be a great fade spot for, we talked about the system this year, the 6-game or longer road trip spot. Coming back home, first goal, first period, Calgary for me, and that game on Wednesday is already circled for that Flames and Habs game coming up late. But that's Wednesday. We'll get to that on Wednesday. But for me, this game, not a whole lot. I maybe lean draw. Could see it. Dallas is certainly not immune to seeing them, take teams to overtime here on home ice. You remember the Chicago game last weekend here in Dallas, went to a shootout, won by the Blackhawks 4-3. So other than a mild lean to the draw, I don't have anything here. Just to sit back and watch game. Alex, what do you think here? Habs, Stars.
It's funny you mentioned first goal, first period for Wednesday, but I'll be on that right now as far as Dallas is concerned. Minus $1.10, not the best price in the world. We usually like to get plus prices with that, but I think they're going to be a little upset with how they played on New Year's Day against the Hawks. Take that out, and of course we know how the Habs, even though it's more of a Dobish stat, but the Habs have just been susceptible to giving up that first goal, first period. So at minus $1.10, that's the only thing I'm rolling with early. Just Dallas to get the first goal within the first 20 minutes.
Good stuff indeed. Yeah, it makes sense. They got to get out to a lead. That's another thing, too. They've had way too much of a habit lately of falling behind in games. The Dallas Stars, we'll see if they can correct that here tonight in this game against the Montreal Canadiens. And, of course, like I said, 4 losses in a row and looking to get back on track here tonight. At the moment, I see Dobish and Ottinger as the projected starters. And like I said,
I saw Montembeault listed at goalie post, but nothing confirmed because it sits off second back to back. So definitely have to kind of wait and see if you were looking on that. And I do want to mention plus 100 is available for Dallas first goal, first period at FanDuel. 110 minus 110 was at MGM, but if you have FanDuel, even money is available.
Yeah, no doubt. Because Sundays are like this, guys. We don't get goalie confirmations and lineup information as easily or as quickly on Sundays. So this is the perfect day that, when we come on and do this show, never do I have my full card finalized by this point on a Sunday. So it's all the more reason why you should be a Patreon member. It's only $10 a month. Check the Patreon page, check the picks page there on the Patreon page, and we will have everything posted, everything that's finalized closer to puck drop of all these games, because so many times on Sunday we're a little bit late with getting the info we need, to make the positive expectation betting decisions we need to be making, to be successful here in the NHL. All right, next up, we've got Pittsburgh and Columbus. We've got Columbus minus 125, home favorites, 6.5 the total. I look at this spot here for the Penguins and the Jackets, where this is obviously the first thing that stands out. Anytime Columbus is on a back-to-back, and obviously we saw Jet Greaves in net. They beat Buffalo 5-1. Very good win for Columbus. They end the 10-game win streak of the Buffalo Sabres. But you always have to be fearful that because this is the second of a back-to-back, this could be an Elvis Merzlikins start. And if it is, I want no part of Columbus. And in fact, if it is at Merzlikins, I'd be looking at either I don't know about Pittsburgh money line, but I'd certainly be looking at Pittsburgh team total over if it's Elvis Merzlikins here. Pittsburgh, all of a sudden, they sweep Detroit, back-to-back wins against the Detroit Red Wings, building a little momentum here, actually playing a little bit better defensively, if you can believe it, which hadn't been the case for the longest time for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So this is a wait and see. Obviously, I can't move on this game until I know who's in net for Columbus. It's that vital, and I don't even need to look at Alex B. Smith's goalie charts to know there's a gap the size of the Atlantic Ocean right now between Jet Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins in between the pipes for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, like I said, this is definitely going to be Penguins team total over. It's probably going to be an over by Fecta as well if it's Elvis Merzlikins in net. It might be an over anyway. Because this Pittsburgh-Columbus division rivalry here is also a series history over, because we have seen 6 straight meetings go over the total between the Penguins and the Blue Jackets. 4-3, 6-2, 4-3, 6-3, 5-4, and 4-3. So all of them getting to at least 7 goals. So I'll probably be on the over by Fecta regardless, but certainly the amount of money that I put on it goes up if Elvis Merzlikins confirmed in net for the Jackets. I think the draw might be in play here, too, in this game. Pittsburgh and Columbus, head-to-head draw series history is pretty damn strong and very hard to ignore. 4 of the last 6 meetings have gone past regulation between Pittsburgh and Columbus. So this is definitely a draw that I'm going to get involved with here. Alex, what do you think? Penguins, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's actually the only thing I bet here was the draw. I got right at plus 300, right at BetMGM earlier this morning. Shop around if you find a better price. But like I said, those prices are scarce. Anything plus 300 is usually a buy sign right now when you like a draw. And it's funny, I haven't changed the grade much on the difference between Merzlikins and Greaves, mainly because the books haven't. The books haven't dropped. If they announce this as Merzlikins, yeah, by right, this should be an even money spot. Pick 'em line, but they're still going to be favored minus 120, 125. So I have a 20-cent drop between Greaves and Merzlikins, but that's really only just to recognize what the line's going to reflect, not so much the talent. Greaves is certainly the better option, and once Columbus starts playing him more and getting him to a true number one spot, that's when I'll probably change that marker. But the books haven't adjusted, so yeah, if you like Pittsburgh, by all means, would be a bet on spot if Elvis is confirmed. But I'm just sticking with the draw here.
I'm going to give it away right now. I've got to stop doing this. It spoils the bargain bin special of the night segment. But Igor.
Well, yeah, then don't do it.
Just that one I'll announce now. But yeah, Igor Shinikov is one of my bargain bins for Pittsburgh. He scored his first goal as a Penguin the other night, and now, of course, he's going back to Columbus now for the first time to face his former team. So, and the price is just phenomenal. Plus 475. BetMGM and DraftKings for Igor Shinikov here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, former member of the Columbus Blue Jackets, now going back to Columbus here in this one. But yeah, Shilovs, I think, is who we're going to see for Pittsburgh, because Skinner got the start against Detroit, so we probably will see Arturs Shilovs in net for the Penguins. Jackets, we'll see. Sean Monahan still day-to-day for them, by the way, so we'll keep an eye on that, see if he's able to play later on. But again, we've got lots of things circled here, but the Patreon page will have all the confirmed bets once we know the lineup and the goalie confirmations a little bit later. All right, Colorado, Florida. This should be a good one, no question. Colorado minus 135 road favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5 across the board in this one. If you're going to get Colorado, and Carolina knows this after last night, you at least better start strong. And even then, you could obviously not win the game because Colorado's never out of the game with the way they can score goals. But I think after, I don't know what it was on Friday night, but you're right. It was just Florida did not look sharp, did not look right. Looked like they were caught up way more in the pomp and the circumstance, of hosting the Winter Classic on Friday night as opposed to focusing on winning a hockey game. It just felt like the Rangers were a little bit more dialed in, more of a business trip kind of mentality there for the Rangers. Don't take anything away here from the Rangers. They played well, 5-1 in the Winter Classic on Friday night, but I would expect probably a better start in particular here from the Florida Panthers, especially with the Colorado Avalanche coming in very late, from Raleigh, North Kakalaki after the 5-3 comeback win against the Hurricanes last night. So I like Florida first goal, first period here. I think it's a good spot. Jump on Colorado early. We're looking at probably with Mackenzie Blackwood on the injured reserve list, by the way. He's on IR right now for the Avalanche. Is Jared Bednar going to throw Wedgwood in a back-to-back? I'm not so sure about that. Maybe. You never know. But we could be talking about Trent Miner, just recently called up from Colorado of the American Hockey League. To be the starting goaltender here for Colorado, for the Avalanche here in this game. Miner, his numbers at the NHL level this year, he's gotten into 2 games, lost both games, 4 goals allowed. Actually, the numbers aren't bad. 2.12 goals against average, 4 goals allowed, but on 44 shots. He's faced a lot of rubber, but still not a ton of NHL experience at this level. I like Florida first goal, first period. I'm very tempted by Florida plus 115 at this price, but it's just so damn difficult to actually place a bet full game against this machine that is the Colorado Avalanche right now. But it's definitely a Florida spot all the way. It's just a question, are they good enough to take down the beast that is the Colorado Avalanche? I prefer that early look, first goal, first period here for Florida in this game. Might also look at an over by Fecta here, but again, waiting to see the goalie confirmation, because this is another one, Colorado and Florida, where both teams are trending over the total of late. Colorado, I think it's like 4 or 5 straight overs, 4 straight overs for them. And this Florida team, as far as the overs are concerned, what are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-1 in their last 7 games to the over. So again, but I will say this with caution about the over leans in these Sunday games. We do know the long-term numbers that Jonathan provided with Sunday unders in the NHL, games before 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's been pretty strong. So with these overs on a Sunday, I'm probably going to scale back just a little bit because of that. But at the end of the day, you got to handicap the game, and you can't let some Sunday under type of thing completely take you off a position if you think it's the right move. What do you think here, Alex? Colorado, Florida.
So it's like a combination of the first two games. I have right there with you, Florida first goal, first period, plus 135, best price available at FanDuel. But I also have the draw, and I did check with Caesars. Yes, for the games to go to overtime, plus 340, best price available for this game, and also Pittsburgh and CBJ. So that's your best option if you're looking at the draw. Go with that with Caesars. And like I said, if it is Trent Miner starting, he's played 2 games for Colorado. Both those games have gone past regulation. So that makes it a little even stronger. Plus 340 with the draw, and Florida scored the first goal within the first period.
Yeah, energized. That's a great comment. No doubt. He has done this before, Bednar, that with one of his 2 goalies out, in this case it's Mackenzie Blackwood, that he has rolled with the mainstay in back-to-back games, which would be in this case Scott Wedgwood, as opposed to relying on the call-up from the Miners. So yes, that is true. Like I said, neither decision would I wouldn't be totally shocked to see Trent Miner, and I definitely wouldn't be shocked if Wedgwood's back in there for a second straight game here against the Florida Panthers. As far as props here for this Avs-Panthers game, is definitely a game I'm going to be keeping my eye on. It's going to deserve one of my screens. You know, we don't need to be wrapped up in Jets-Bills, you know, for at 4 o'clock in the NFL. We can put the Avs-Panthers somewhere on the screens in front of me. It's going to be probably a very good game. Brock Nelson and Sam Reinhart have scored in 3 straight games. So if you're going to ride the goal streaks, that's who you roll with. McKinnon, 4 straight games with a goal for him as well. So if you want to ride the streaks, there you go. All those players I mentioned with multiple game goal scoring streaks. What else here for the Avs here? Jack Drury, you know, is someone that obviously found the back of the net last night. Keep an eye on him. Anton Lundell, I mentioned it pretty much over and over again now when the Panthers play, that Anton Lundell is always someone I'm looking at for goal props. He's played very well for the Panthers of late. That whole line with him and Kuhlman, Luostarinen, and Sam Reinhart now playing with them. Marchand with Bennett and Verhaeghe now.
All Olympians, right?
Good. Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the Olympic bump's been strong the last couple of days. Well, except for the guys who've gotten hurt, but we've seen goal scorers coming in with that. So that's a good little run, and that's a good line of all Olympians.
All right, Vegas and Chicago. Vegas minus 260 road favorites, 6.5 the total. There were 6s. It's pretty much now 6.5 here across the board here in this game. I mean, this has to be the spot Vegas bounces out of this, I think, against the Chicago Blackhawks, because you got Chicago coming off the big win against Washington, 3-2 in a shootout. Late arrival, I'm sure, back to the Windy City. You lose an hour as well, because you're going from the Eastern time zone to the Central time zone. Vegas off a 4-3 loss to St. Louis on Friday afternoon, so a rest advantage here for the Vegas Golden Knights. They've owned Chicago as well, you know, in the series. I mean, everything points to this has to be the spot for Vegas to snap out of it here. It also should help that Jack Eichel now, this is his second game back, right? Even Bruce Cassidy said after the loss to St. Louis, looked a little rusty, you know, his timing looked, you know, a little bit off against the Blues on Friday. So now a second game under his belt, you know, he should be a little bit sharper, no doubt. This has actually been an over series history too, 6-1. Overrun in the last 7 meetings between these two teams. Vegas, you know, the problem for them is defensively, it's been a travesty for them all of a sudden. They lose Shea Theodore, and the puck's going in left and right against them all of a sudden. They give up 6 to Colorado, 5 to Minnesota, 4 to Nashville, 4 to St. Louis during this 4-game losing streak. But there is a little bit of a decline as far as offensive potency is concerned when you go from a lot of those teams to what you're going to get from Chicago right now without Bedard and Nazar. Although I will say this, the Blackhawks have at least shown a little bit more of a pulse offensively the last couple of games here without Bedard and Nazar, and that is certainly a welcome sight. So this is another one. We'll wait to see who the goalies are. I'm definitely confident in the fact that it probably will be Soderblom, Alex's favorite goalie in the whole wide world, in net tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. Carter Hart probably for Vegas. Carter Hart's been a little unsteady here in some of his recent starts. So this is another one I kind of lean over with, but I kind of think Vegas might do most of the scoring. I'm probably going to be on the Vegas team total over 3.5. I'm pretty sure of that. You know, that's probably a bet I'm going to look at here if Soderblom's confirmed, but I think it's going to be more when Soderblom is confirmed in net. That Vegas team total, by the way, minus 130. The best price out there with it right now for Vegas, over 3.5 here at minus 130. That will be on the card if Soderblom's in net. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights, Blackhawks.
Yeah, it's more than likely going to be Soderblom in net. And shout out to Jonathan Davis. Let's just read off what's happened the last 4 games on the second leg of a back-to-back for the Blackhawks. 9-3 loss to Buffalo, 7-1 loss to Anaheim, 4-0 loss to Detroit, and a 7-3 loss to the Penguins. That's not
and
good.
Didn't they give up at least 2 goals in all those first periods? So I get what Jonathan's
Yes.
going at with that big score. Vegas
Yes.
first period, team total over 1.5 plus 200. There you go. 2 goals or more first period goal, two or more first period goals allowed in 3 of those last 4 second half of back-to-back situations for Chicago. There you go.
Yeah. So first period over 1.5, you can get a minus 135 at Caesars. That's worth playing. You can always wait a little bit in game as well and try and get a better price. Vegas, like I said, alternate team total over 1.5 in the first period at plus 200. Full game over, I grabbed 6. You can wait for a 6 live, but 6.5 I think is fine too. I think we have goals back and forth. I will have a bargain bin from each side. One from Vegas, one from Chicago. Nick Lardis is on my card, but he is not one of my bargain bins tonight. But I will be riding him again plus 460.
I don't want to use the phrase DEFCON 1 if Vegas loses tonight, but if they do lose tonight, that's really alarming.
Close to it.
Really
DEFCON 2 maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this is a scheduled loss for the Chicago Blackhawks. It really is. It's supposed to be. You're on a back-to-back. You're flying high off a big shootout win against a pretty damn good Capitals team. It's ripe for the picking to just get smacked back around like they've done repeatedly. I remember that Pittsburgh game. That thing was over in the first period on a Sunday night at home. And Pittsburgh just dummied them in that opening period. And I'm worried that we get something similar tonight. But again, Vegas has been scuffling, and they've been a mess in their own zone. It's can they fix it here tonight? That's going to be the question. But he couldn't ask for a better setup from a scheduling standpoint for Vegas here. You just can't. It can't get any better than this. It's a really tough one for Chicago. The question now is, can the Golden Knights take advantage of it? We will see. They should. But again, we will see. That's why they play the game. As far as props here, Mark Stone, 3 games in a row with a goal. How about Tavo? It's Tavo time. Yeah, I did watch Jingle All the Way once over the Christmas season. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. What happened to Sinbad, man? Just disappeared after his little run there in the 90s and 2000s.
He faded out. Movie filmed in Minnesota, by the way. A lot of that filmed in St. Paul. Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. Of course, they said it's turbo time, but yeah, it's Tavo time right now for the Chicago Blackhawks. 3 games in a row with a goal for him, so he's certainly been heating up right now for this Blackhawks team, which has been great to see. And for Vegas, Eichel back in the fold, so obviously there's been a little bit of a change in the top 6. Close shave, Barbashev, Eichel, and Bowman is the top line right now. Brett Howden, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, currently the second line for Vegas. And like I said, as long as Barbashev and Bowman are the ones to flank Jack Eichel right now, definitely some good value in their props as well on the Vegas side of things. All right, our last game for this Sunday slate, Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. We've got New Jersey minus, it's New Jersey minus 125. Sorry, it's Carolina rather, minus 125 road favorites in this game. Total 6 across the board. Brutal run here for Carolina defensively. They miss Slavin and Jarvis clearly. And Jarvis is a really good defensive player as a forward. We know he can score and forecheck, and he goes to the blue paint right and to the crease to score goals. That's what you love about him. But at the same point in time, they miss his defense. They miss Slavin's defense. And this team's they've lost their confidence in how to defend. It's really, really, it's amazing to see it, because you always think of Carolina, the strong, structured, airtight, buttoned-up defensive team, and they've been anything but that here in recent games. It doesn't help that, Freddie Anderson's gotten a couple of these starts. Like 2 of the last 3 games were started by Freddie Anderson. Let's keep that in mind, who's had a terrible run. The Pittsburgh game and, of course, last night against Colorado. But even Brandon Bussey, who's been so good, was not spared from getting shelled with this struggling defense in front of him when he gave up the 7 against Montreal earlier this week. And I'm sure we're going to see Bussey here tonight on the back-to-back starting in net for Carolina. The first time he's given up goals of that magnitude, 7. in a game? Can the young kid respond? Although the response also is going to happen if Carolina tidies things up in front of him, and that's got to happen as well if he's going to play better. Jake Allen should be in net here for the New Jersey Devils. It was Markstrom who got the start yesterday afternoon in the win against Utah. And we got to give Markstrom some credit. That was one of his better starts in a while. Played pretty well against Utah in that victory. I'm waiting on goalie confirmations, but if it's Allen, and I think it will, I could only take New Jersey in this spot. Carolina's got to show me right now that they can play a solid defensive hockey right now, and they're not doing it. And even if Bussy in net gives them a better chance in between the pipes than Anderson, but if you're giving up some of these grade A's and you're turning it over and you're making some of these mistakes at the defensive in the D zone that Carolina's been making, you could have Cam Ward in his prime, from 20 years ago starting for Carolina. He's not going to save you either if you're going to keep giving up these grade A chances that they have. So no doubt. Yes, we'll run the breaking. We do have some breaking lineup news. We'll run.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
Breaking news, and to me, it's not totally shocking news. I was hoping for Elvis Merzlikins. We are not getting Elvis Merzlikins for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Dean Evison going back to Jet Greaves, the only goalie he can count on right now. He was great yesterday against Buffalo. He's played well of late. So that changes things as far as the approach with Pittsburgh and Columbus. Definitely takes me off any Pittsburgh positions in that game when it's all said and done. Doesn't mean I'm going to be running to back Columbus because it is back-to-back, and Pittsburgh, has had a nice little couple of games. But, I am still on the draw. I'll tell you that. Yeah, the draw is still a go for me, though, in that Penguins and Blue Jackets game.
6 straight starts for Greaves. I think we can now say he's now the number one guy.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's total loss of confidence. I think the over in that game, boring bets, just because of the series history factor. Like I mentioned it earlier, it's 6 straight overs with Pittsburgh and Columbus. So I probably will dabble in that, but smaller bet now that it's Jet Greaves confirmed for Columbus. But anyway, getting back to this game, New Jersey is the lean for me. Only Devils are pass for me. Alex, what do you think? Canes, Devils.
This is one I'm going to wait for live. I've had such bad luck with New Jersey. Like I said, this seems like a hammered New Jersey spot, especially with Allen, who's been the better of the 2 goalies. Carolina playing the 6th game in 9 days. That's a lot, especially with how they've just been treading along and losing it. But the quote from Stahl yesterday after that game, he says, "We've got to get back to playing our game." That said a lot to me.
He said that same bullshit for 4 games in a row.
I know.
When are you actually going to start getting back to that game, Jordan? When?
Right, and that's the thing. In a division spot where you've beaten this team 3 of the last 4 times, this may be the game where they get up. And like you said, Bussy coming off of his worst start as an NHL goalie, looking to rebound too. So this is one I want to wait and see. I want to see what the pace in the play is early in this contest. My gut says New Jersey, but most of the times when I've backed New Jersey, it's been bad. So this may be a Carolina spot. I'll just wait live and go from there.
Yeah, I'll probably get involved in some form in this game, side or total. But again, we're waiting to see everything play out as far as the lineups and the goalies here. We do have 4 players on 2-game goal streaks, by the way. Ehlers and Svechnikov for Carolina. Hischier and actually Ehlers, Svechnikov, and Aho for Carolina. Hischier for New Jersey, all on 2-game goal scoring streaks. Canes 5 and 7. That's brutal. I don't know how the hell the schedule makers live with themselves putting Carolina in a spot like this. That's as bad as it gets. They've made some bad. They've made some ridiculous schedule. They've put so many teams behind the 8 ball with brutal schedule making decisions.
We know why though, right?
Yeah, of course. Trying to cram. It's like cramming a shoehorn, into this season, this 82 game season because of the Olympics right now, and it's certainly becoming a bit of an issue as far as just every team is going to go through one where it's like, what the hell? How are they in the scheduling spot like this? But that's what we're dealing with here in this particular season overall. As far as props here, you look at it. Steph Nason used to be with Carolina, so that might be a down the board shot I go with here. Steph Nason for the New Jersey Devils.
He's cashed against Carolina with New Jersey. I remember Matt had him once.
Yeah, I think that's worth it. I think that's worth a shot. There's no doubt. Taylor Hall's a former Devil, now with Carolina. So there you go. There's another one. I think those are worth a look. Taylor Hall for Carolina and Steph Nason for New Jersey, playing against their old teams. I might look at those two for goal props here with this Carolina and New Jersey matchup. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. This is one of these days, and like I said, this has happened a lot for us this season on Sundays, but this is one of these days where, it's, we're not moving on everything at the moment. We don't know our full card as of yet. We're waiting on all the information to come out as far as lineups and goalies, which is all the more reason to join us at patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. We will have the full card, finalized, complete card from me and from Alex on the Patreon page for all our members later today. Sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content as well. We will be announcing tomorrow our Patreon exclusive live betcast dates, 2 of them for the month of January. And we already announced the free-for-all betcast date for January, Tuesday, January 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So and we'll announce the Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up early this week. So get on board. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. $10 per month. Get on board here to start the new year at patreon.com/iceguys. Oh yeah, wizardsportspicks.com. It's great run on the website. Huge NFL Sunday, final one of the regular season. Profitable for me right now in NFL, NBA, college basketball. Right now, all and NHL, of course, all at the same time. So it's been very good at the website. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And again, patreon.com/iceguys as well.
Yeah, and also check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have 3 days left to save 25% off all orders that are $50 or more. Hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to checkout, and then 25% will be taken off of all orders $50 or more. 3 days left for that special. That's right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, there you go. 3 days for that special. Check it out there at the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Kings and Queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check it out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code ICEGUYS. All right, bargain bin special of the night here for this Sunday slate. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, we got a pair of them coming from 1901 West Madison. We'll start with the visiting Vegas Golden Knights, and he's moving up to the top line. You get him at plus 425 at DraftKings. Braden Bowman, anytime goal scorer for VGK. That's bargain bin special number 1. Number 2 comes from the Hawks, and like I said, we're not going with Nick Lardis, but we're going to go with one of his line mates tonight. That's Oliver Moore, plus 600 anytime goal scorer, the best price available. You can get that at a few shops. So that'll be my second bargain bin special. So Braden Bowman plus 425 for Vegas, Oliver Moore plus 600 for the Hawks. My 2 bargain bin specials for the Sunday.
Good. All right. Good stuff indeed from Alex. There are 2 bargain bin specials. Braden Bowman, Vegas, Oliver Moore, Chicago. I have 2 as well. I already mentioned the first one. Igor Shinikov for Pittsburgh, plus 475. What a great price as he goes back to Columbus to face his old team. So Igor Shinikov, Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 475. And the other bargain bin special, it's also from the Vegas-Chicago game. It's Teuvo time. We're going to ride the streak. Teuvo Teravainen, Chicago Blackhawks, plus 470 is the best price out there for that. Why not? For a guy that scored now in 3 straight games, give me Teuvo Teravainen, Chicago. Plus 470, along with Igor Shinikov, Pittsburgh, plus 475 for my 2 bargain bin specials for this Sunday. All right, best bets to wrap it up. Alex, what do you like here for best bet?
Let's hope some of these bargain bins come in early in that Vegas-Chicago game because we like first period over. 1.5 minus 135 is the best price available. Anything higher than $1.40, I'd say wait a couple of minutes into the contest, try and get a better price. But we like Vegas and Chicago. First period over 1.5 is a Sunday best bet.
All right, good stuff indeed. My best bet, let's do it. This has been a great market to me. Let's diversify the portfolio with the best bet segment today. Give me Florida first goal, first period against Colorado. I like that spot. Coming off the dud against the Rangers in the Winter Classic, I expect a great start from the Panthers here in this game. And obviously, the Panthers here, I think, could very much be live here to get on the board early, catching a Colorado team, not only getting in late from Raleigh, North Carolina, but also, of course, the big comeback win. You know, that was a satisfying comeback win, you know, against an opponent that, you know, Colorado, a lot of people in the NHL world view Carolina as an Eastern contender, that could be a Stanley Cup final. Once Carolina gets healthy, you could see, you know, Colorado a little sluggish out of the gate here. I don't think you'll see that from Florida. So Florida, first goal, first period, plus 135. We're going to go with that for my best bet here for this Sunday NHL slate. Can't forget that either. Panthers, first goal, first period, plus 135. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, looking forward to this Sunday NHL slate. This is the last Sunday Ice Guys show with a full regular season NFL slate. So we're going to be able to take our time a little bit more, at least a little bit more with the Sunday shows moving forward rather than rushing as much as we do. So that'll be good. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit the like button on the way out. Yeah, Alex, anything you want to add?
Oh, no, I was just going to say we're probably going to have some larger NHL cards moving forward in the Sundays, too, as we get later into the season. So.
No doubt. Yeah, you will see the Sunday schedule expand as the regular season gets closer to concluding. All right, a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we are back with you Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.